Magnification volume 0%.
Good afternoon, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today, I have for you Transformers Legacy Dragstrip. Here he is in all of his robot glory, and we're going to talk about him today. How he feels, what he's like, and everything like that. A basic robot review. So if you don't mind, go below, like, subscribe, share, comment, do everything you can. Only you can help me raise awareness for the blind. All right, let's break this guy down and talk about it. So if you don't know, Dragstrip is a Stuntacon, and this is the first of 5. Right now, we know for a fact that Wild Rider and Motormaster will be coming later on this year, and this guy's the first one. And then after them will be Dead End and Breakdown. Yeah, Dead End and Breakdown, and they'll be coming out at some point afterwards. And I just want to make sure that you understand, my viewers, that this guy right here is part of a combiner. And this is one of those moments of I think this combiner is going to be amazing. And I suggest to you, because I'm going to do it, is keep these guys safe. And make sure you pick them up before they disappear, because if they're anything like the Studio Series Devastator, those prices went through the roof. So keep that in mind. Don't sleep on this guy if you want to get yourself a Menasor, which is the Stuntacons combined. And this is number 1 of the Stuntacons, or I honestly can't remember which appendage he was. Like, was he the arm or the leg? I can't remember. But I do know that this guy is simply the worst. And what makes him the worst is that he is very fast, and he does win a lot of races. But he's a sore winner. He's a sore winner. He does nothing but rub it in other people's faces whenever he wins, and that kind of makes him the worst. And it's like, yeah, winning's cool, celebrate the win, but don't rub it in other people's faces, especially the losers. This guy's kind of a a dick. So we'll talk about it now. I have to say, he does not come with many siege ports. The last Legacy figure I did was Broadside and Bulkhead. Good grief, it was Bulkhead, and he came with plenty of siege ports. But this dude right here, he doesn't have any on the sides of his legs. That's just the interior of a wheel right there. He does have one on each of the back of his legs, but he does not have any in his feet. And he does seem to have one on the front of each of his legs, right above the feet. But that's it for siege ports on his legs. Now, his arms have a siege port for each of the hands, and then the arm shields, like his bracers, don't really have any siege ports whatsoever, but I think they do have a siege port in the top. No, that's not really a siege port at all either. So one siege port, these wheels are not siege ports, and this part at the top does not have a siege port in it. And so that makes it 2 for each hand, 4 for the legs. Let me double check that 4. Let me just double check that 4. Let's see, put that little gun in there. Yeah, 4 for the legs, and only 2 for the... So that's 6 so far, and then you flip him around to the back, and he's got 2 siege ports. I currently have both of his guns plugged in there, and that makes 8. Overall, this guy has got just very, very few siege ports at all. He is one of the least siege port heavy things I've ever seen in this line. I mean, he definitely ranks up there with the likes of, I want to say Elita 1 and stuff, of just not very many siege ports at all. But his goal isn't siege ports. He's all about, being Menasor and being a part of Menasor, and I think they've managed to do that pretty well. So we'll talk about the figure itself. The transformation for the limb that he becomes is still kind of hidden. Apparently, I've been playing around with it, and I think I understand what it will be, but I'm not completely sure. And even though I promised never to do it again, apparently I'm going to have a separate video on limb transformation for each of the Stuntacons. and but that's definitely going to be coming out sometime next year. So I'm just going to include this video in every video I make afterwards about the Stuntacons in their own unique playlist, Stuntacons. So, all right, we talked about siege ports. Now let's talk about the molding. So this guy's molding is quite excellent. I love it. He's got these really nice, he stands on the fins on the back of the IndyCar or Formula One racer. That's kind of neat. I do no, I don't like it really well because the paint down there on the bottom of his feet can wear off, and there's no way to like put any boots on him because there's no siege port down there. So be aware of that. Um, the joint for the lower leg is pretty nice. Due to transformation, he does get more movement in the entire foot than normal, and he does have some nice ankle pivot, which is really cool. He has he doesn't have a double knee, but he does have a very nice knee joint. This thing does get you a little more than 90. I think that's pretty nice. And the molding on his legs is very sleek in robot mode. He's got that square peg hole for the siege port. He's got some, molded in little lines and panels and pegs for, I guess, armor and stuff. It's quite nice. This is really well done. And this wheel is a racing wheel. Oh, he's got one on each. It's the rear wheel, so it's big and very smooth because most racing wheels don't have much traction. And then we turn around to his back, and for the back of his legs, we got the molding of the giant engine that is in the Formula One racer that he becomes. So we'll talk more about that molding in the vehicle video. But we come up here to his waist. He's got normal waist action. He can do all the things that we've seen in War for Cybertron Studio Series and now in Legends. It's a very nice hip joint, and I'm very happy to see it. Those are really nice hips, and they're not very loose, so you can actually get him to pose very well without worrying about him doing the splits, which I'm always happy about. Now we come up here to his arm, and he's got this really thick panel of armor that's on his arm, like some sort of forearm armor, and they kind of resemble little rectangular shields that run down the length of the arm, which is pretty cool. I like that. I think that's a fine detail. And the hands are well molded, but don't really move at all, and that's all right. We don't really get much movement in hands. It's always a special event whenever hands can do stuff. This guy's a unique Formula One racer because he's got 6 wheels. So the front 2 wheels, well, he's got 4 front wheels. So the 2 on his left side and 2 on his right side, and they fold up next to each other to sit directly below the that wedge-shaped thing on the front of Formula One racers. The aerodynamic bar. I don't know what you would call that, but anyway, they sit directly under it, and the aerodynamic little front fin of a Formula One racer can actually rotate. Let me spin him around. It can rotate a little bit to allow more motion to occur in the arm. It can, if you rotate it all the way around so that it's completely flush against the head, you can actually get a lot of good shoulder action out of this guy. And I knocked off one of his guns. But you can push it back over. It does limit the shoulder action, but I think it looks cool. It gives him more of an imposing visage. So we're going to put the gun on his back again, and the other side is the same thing. It's decent arm movement. There's a more than a 90 in almost, but not quite. No, it's just a really well done elbow joint. It's a single elbow joint, but it gets you more than a 90, which is nice. Now we get to his head sculpt, and his head is twisted around. My bad. He's got a nice head sculpt in there. You can feel pretty well, and it's a very tight head. And I remember this guy just being such a dick. He was just such a dick. It's cool to have him in the collection. And then of course you've got the center bit where the cockpit is for the Formula One racer, which makes up most of his chest, and that's really well done. There's nice detailing in there with the mold. You can feel like curves and edges and stuff. I think that's really neat. And I love how it all comes together. And the plastic on this guy is top notch. This is blowing me away. I have yet in the Legacy series, and I've gotten all but the kickback in the RC. Everything except for that hot rod from the from a core class. The core class hot rod is the only POS that I have experienced in this line, and we're going to get to that. I did promise you core class figures in the future. I just all the legacy stuff came, so I'm tackling the legacy stuff. Anyway, this is Dragstrip in his robot mode. Excellent plastic, excellent build. You remove his guns from his back here, and he doesn't have a backpack. This guy's got a clean image to him. The angle, the lines are all clean. Everything about this guy is just smooth and slick and speedy. Even in this robot mode, I feel as though this guy can run faster than most robots can run in Transformers. And the fact that both guns fit on his back, like he can sheath them back there, it's pretty cool. I really like that little bit of detail, and I really appreciate that this line is doing this. And I hope that the rest of the Stuntacons that come out in Transformers Legacy turn out to be just as good as, if not better, than the robot mode for Dragstrip has been. And please tune in tomorrow. I will be doing the Blindformers episode on Dragstrip, teaching you how to transform him from his robot to his vehicle mode. And then on Thursday, I will discuss with you Dragstrip's vehicle mode. And then, of course, on Friday, we're going to have Power Rangers Friday, Titanus Edition. And then on Saturday, we're going to have the breakdown on how to put everything together to do the super crazy Titanus Power Rangers combo, whatever it's called. Maybe it's the Super Dragon Megazord or something. I don't know. Check it out then. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tune in next time.